All right, BCTV is here with 4 members of the softball team and their head coach, Morgan Bohanan, from left to right. We have Kendyl Anderson from Lenexa, Kansas, Allyson Montgomery from Goddard, Kansas, Reece Briggs from Waco, Texas, and Briona Woods from Clearwater, Kansas, as well as our head coach, Morgan Bohanan. And the team is now 45-10 on the season. They won the Region 6 championship. They won the Plains District Championship here on Saturday in an exciting doubleheader sweep of Northeastern Junior College from Colorado. And they will be leaving this weekend for another trip in the national tournament. And Coach Bohanan, at the beginning of the year, were you thinking national tournament? What were your thoughts as a first-year head coach?
Yeah, I think that we were obviously thinking national tournament just because, we have a new coaching staff doesn't mean that this isn't Butler Softball, and that's our expectation every year. So, I would say that we were thinking national tournament. However, we were still thinking one game at a time. We weren't thinking, national tournament right out of the gate.
How has this team coalesced or come together throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, I think that we've gelled pretty well. I mean, we had a lot of new pieces to the puzzle this year, and I think we've gotten better every game. And right now it's finally clicking together, and we're firing on all cylinders.
As someone who's been around Butler softball for most of their life, like you have, what just makes this group stand out or special to you?
I think it's just the way that everyone came together. I mean, these sophomores, they didn't have to stay here. They could have transferred with the new coaching staff, and I think the fact that these kids wanted to be here, that just says a lot about the program and about these kids.
Can you just touch on the excitement that was over the weekend and just how your girls were able to rally in the final innings of both games?
Yeah, it was exciting. Obviously, NJC was a good team, and we just came out with a lot of energy, and it was cool to see them come out with a lot more energy than I've seen in a while. So it was just a fun, exciting game all around, and to see them, finally get those 2 wins was huge for us.
So, Briona, let's talk about your grand slam late in game 2. What was going through your mind in that plate appearance?
At that plate appearance, I'd watched, we had 2 outs. My leadoff, 2-hole and 3-hole all got on. Lots of walks, lots of base hits. I was going up there, and, Coach Morgan was telling me just find the middle of the ball. So I was going up in a 2-strike approach and just trying to find a line drive, and I hit it just right, and it went over.
As a local kid, coming up around such a great program, what's it mean to be a part of this as well, and just add your stamp to this program?
Amazing, honestly. I grew up, of course, Clearwater's only 45 minutes away. I grew up hearing about them, hearing about Doug Chance, hearing about the national titles that they had. They were always a good team year in, year out, so whenever they reached out to me, I immediately knew this is where I wanted to go, and to be a part of that legacy is absolutely amazing. So,
Allyson, I don't know if you've been a part of many games where you strike out 15 batters, but they were still getting hits and home runs and stuff. What was it like pitching against a lineup like that?
They were an extremely talented lineup, extremely prepared to see me, I think. And I think I knew that my lineup had my back, too. We were hitting the ball just as good. And just keep my head down, keep working, locate my pitches to the best of my ability, and let my lineup take care of us. Sometimes that's how it has to go.
Coach touched on how you guys could have made decisions in the offseason to transfer and whatnot. What was it about Butler that kept you here, and what's it mean to see the fruits of your guys' labor pay off?
It's just an incredibly special place to be at. I don't think you realize that until you're here. I have so much confidence in Coach Bohanan and Coach Johnson, and I was just excited. I think there was so much unfinished business after last year, getting to go to the national tournament but not doing what we wanted to do. And so there was just some unfinished business to do here.
Reece, we talked about the fact that you're hitting over 500 in the last month or so of the season. What's it been like for you getting on this kind of a hot streak?
I think it's just following along with what we do here. I think being Butler softball, you come in and we sort of plan to roll over people, and sometimes when it's not going our way, it's easy to fall down, but we have so much talent. It's so easy to get back in and just get hot. Everyone stays hot. Our energy's huge, so it's pretty easy to get back on board when everyone around you is doing so well.
And Kendyl, you getting to come in and make a couple of clutch pinch hitting performances there in the district championship. This lineup is so deep. There's so many good people in the lineup. What's your approach like when the coach says, get in there and make something happen for us?
Mainly, I'm really just looking for a ball to hit. The last few at-bats I've had, I've hit the first pitch every time. I'm just looking to, move my runners in and make something happen for my team. And just do what I can in that at bat to work for my team. Especially, I'm just trying to think unselfishly and make it happen.
What was it like being immersed in those games on Saturday? Each of them could have been the game of the year, and you guys played them back to back, 2 crazy comebacks in the final stages. What was it like being immersed in those?
It was awesome. I never had to worry. Like, even when we kept going back to back with each other, I always knew like my team was gonna get back in there and like get after them. There was just never really a worry, even when we were in those really deep, stressful situations. Like, I just always knew my team was gonna get in there and do something great.
This could be for coach or anybody, but you've had some really tough games over the last 2 weeks. How do you think these games will prepare you heading into next week in Alabama?
I think that, yes, we had some really good games these past few weeks, but honestly, our whole schedule this year has been pretty tough, and I think that these kids have kind of bought into the process of, challenging ourselves and looking at the bigger picture, knowing that our tough schedule is going to help us out at the end of the year. But definitely these past 2 weeks is going to make us stronger, just because we've been in tight situations, we've seen better pitching. Overall, it's just going to help us in the long run.
What has been the biggest thing for you, maybe, in taking over for Doug Chance, who had all the success and won the national titles, one of which with you as a player, but what has it been for you and your assistant coach, Megan Johnson, to really kind of help you guys have the success you've had?
Yeah, so obviously, you can't replace a Doug Chance, and that wasn't my goal coming in. I know that, I'm not Doug Chance. I'm Morgan Bohanan, and I'm going to come out and be the best coach that I can be. And Coach Johnson, taking over the pitching role, same thing. We have to be ourselves, and we have to just kind of trust ourselves and our process. We use some of the same things that, Doug's used in the past, but just being ourselves and being the coaches that we are, and as well as keeping the same values and traditions that Butler has.
And maybe for any of the girls, what have you ladies appreciated, or something that you've taken away from what Coach Bohanan has done that maybe you were worried about or maybe didn't think about? Or
Definitely coming back, this year was a big thing for all of us. Knowing Coach was there last year, she went through all the struggles that we did last year and being able to overcome and make it to the national title. But coming back this year has just been completely different. Morgan has, of course, kept the same things that Doug has, but also added a little bit of her own touch to it. She believed in us. She believed in all of us girls. She's constantly said that we are the better teams out here, and we just have to go out and prove it. And, it was just something that building confidence for us girls. Even when we were struggling in the beginning of the year down in Texas, it was constant, like, we will get better. It doesn't matter what team we are in January, February. It matters who we are in May, and I think that's really stuck around with all of us.
I also think that this team has a lot more like fight and grit than I've seen in the past years. Like, we are out there fighting for each other, and you can really tell that we're doing it for each other and that we want to be here with each other doing it, which I think is a lot different. And we know we might not be like the best Butler team there's ever been, but like our fight and our grit is something unmatched that I haven't seen.
Along the lines of future Hall of Fame coach Doug Chance, but I know you talked to him before the region championship and maybe last week, but what have those conversations been like, and what have you been able to bring to the game, some of the things he's told you? I know you've known him a long time.
Yeah. So, I talked to him before we played the region tournament, and, I call him, we talk every week, sometimes almost daily, but him just reassuring me that don't second guess myself. He's no longer the coach I am, and that I need to trust my gut and do what I think is right. But having someone like that to just be able to call, and bounce ideas off of is great, and he's been very helpful, and especially in my first year.
Allyson, we talked before Saturday's matchup, but what do you want people to remember about Allyson Montgomery? Obviously the records, and you've broken a lot of those, but from your 2 years here, what do you want people to remember the most about Allyson Montgomery?
I hope people remember how much I love to play here and play the game here. My smile, how I treat my teammates, my coaches, how I interact with people, because that's truly what it's all about, and just truly getting the opportunity to be here and play and love it. And I hope that they can see that, how much I have.
What's it to do that as a local kid, as someone who, as you just grew up just down the road, and grew up around this program.
Yeah, it's so neat. I think obviously getting to play at Butler is a pleasure, and it truly is an honor. And so just being down the road, my family gets to see that, and that's been the best thing for me ever. I get to be close to home, and they get to see it happen right in front of their eyes. So that's truly been amazing.
Shifting gears to the national tournament next week, you won't know who you play until Friday morning when they announce the seeding. But all 4 of you have been a part of a national tournament last year in Yuma. How do you prepare yourself for a quick turnaround once you find out who the matchup is on Friday to maybe playing Tuesday or Wednesday?
I think it's less of who we're playing. I think it's more of just our mindset going into the tournament. I think that we're ready. I think this whole year we've been sort of trying to prove to other people, prove to ourselves that this is Butler softball. It has been Butler softball. And so I think we're ready for the tournament no matter who we're playing. I think we're just going to go out there and play Butler softball.
Can you touch on the ability of Maddie to step up in the spots that she did, scoring the game-winning run and then having the home run in extra innings with the – she doesn't have the most plate appearances on the team, but the way she's able to step up in that moment, how cool was that to see?
Yeah, seeing her smile around the bases was the best part. But, we always tell our kids to be ready. You never know when your name's going to be called, and we had Amaya go down in the outfield, and she had to step up. And, I think it just says a lot about the kids that we have, not only in our starting lineup, but on our bench. We don't have a weak link. And for her to do that, obviously to step up was huge for us.
Anyone else want to touch on just what you saw from her in that moment?
I just thought it was amazing, and seeing her do that, it was everything that she's worked for, and I've seen her work for in practice, and day in, day out, giving her all and her 100% always. You never see Mallory not going 100% all the time, and to see her do that and to see her smile was just an amazing experience. And to just be there and to cheer her on, and just seeing her succeed like that was just awesome.
Being a part of the outfield with her, she always comes up, she always asks tons of questions, always is wanting to be better. So, in between innings and stuff like that, she would ground out or something, she'd come up to me and she's like, it's just annoying, that I haven't been able to just produce the way that I want to. But, just constantly reminding her just to find the middle of the ball, and the ball's going to fly. And then seeing that actually happen, it just made my whole heart so happy for her. Everyone was so excited to see that happen, and then being able to lock back in and know that we had to go out and get 3 more outs to win it. And just seeing the smile on everyone's faces, but especially hers, because she deserved that.
Thanks for knowing I was talking about Mallory.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Well, ladies, we certainly thank you for joining us today for this press conference, and, of course, wish you the best of luck out in Alabama. So let's get on the road, huh?